Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Two big footballing stories for you this morning, and the first one is an absolute joke. We will be talking about what Chelsea's manager has said about selling Conor Gallagher, which backs up what I said yesterday to all those Chelsea fans who were moaning. Your manager agrees, but let's start off with the big breaking story. Atletico Madrid are going to pay £81.5 million for Alvarez. And you're telling me the Premier League ain't broke, that football ain't broke. It's always bloody Man City. It's an absolute joke. It's just not fair. Like, they are so far ahead anyway, maybe because of the 115. We'll find out about that. Let's not upset them too much, but we sort of need... look, I'm not here saying if you're not guilty, you should get found guilty, but for the good of football, Man City need their wings clipping because they're flying high like a juggernaut. I mean, they're getting £80 million for their backup striker straight into the football club. Huge profit gets reinvested on better players. You can't compete with that. You cannot compete with that. Whether you think it's fair or not, Man City are selling their bench striker for £80 million that they can reinvest that huge amount of money back into their squad. They've already got the biggest revenue. They can already spend money anyway. And now they're selling players who are bench players for 80 million. I mean, Arsenal don't even have an Erling Haaland. They don't even have an Alvarez. And Man City are selling Alvarez for 80 million quid. And where Atletico Madrid are getting that money from, I don't know. At the start of the summer, they're pleading poverty because they can't afford Mason Greenwood for 25 million. They've just gone and spunked 110 million on Conor Gallagher and Alvarez. And apparently, La Liga's in a footballing crisis. This ain't even bloody Barcelona or Real Madrid. So where they're getting that money from, God only knows. But it's always Man City, isn't it? And look, I jest a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to Atletico Madrid what they want to pay, and fair play to Man City for getting that amount of money. Is Alvarez worth £80 million? No, not really. I don't think so. People can say he's a World Cup winner. So was Alan Ball. He wasn't better than George Best, who never played in a World Cup. I think Alvarez is a decent player, and I think he needs to play first-team football. And maybe Atletico Madrid think they're getting Aguero, because they had Aguero before he went to Man City. And I think he will do well in that league. But I think Man City have done amazingly good business there yet again. And, we've got Premier League predictions coming up next week. Look, I have to take a moment and think, well, what's your angle here? Is it jealousy? A little bit. Is it bitterness? A little bit. Is it an inflated price involving Man City again? Yeah, definitely. Is it corrupt? No, probably not. I mean, certainly I don't think it is corrupt. I just think it's the state of play at the moment where Manchester City, everybody's kissing their arse. This is a club that could be relegated in 12 months, and yet Atletico Madrid are giving them £80 million for their reserve striker. Doesn't look like a club that's going to get relegated in 12 months, does it? Because if you thought you were getting relegated in 12 months, you might be selling people off a little bit cheaper than their value to get some money in. But no, it's business. In fact, it's not even business as normal. It's another level of business. And I think my issue with it is I just look at the Premier League, and the Premier League predictions are going to be very interesting, maybe around second, third, fourth. But it's not going to be very interesting around first place. If you don't go for Man City to win this league, you're a bloody idiot. Best squad, best manager, best circumstances, most money. They can't fail. It's an absolute open goal. And the scary thing is they've probably been a bit reserved this summer transfer window so far. They've certainly got the revenue and the money to go and spend £200 million easily. And that's without selling players. And then they're selling a player for 80 million. So I think that the scary thing for the Premier League is they can sit back and go, wow, they're complying with the rules. I'm sure they are complying with the rules. But no, everyone else is struggling to comply with your rules, and Man City aren't. And this is going to be 7 Premier League titles in 8. We've already had 6 in 7. It's a joke. And it's not fair. It might be fair, but it's not fair because we want a competitive league. And yeah, I just think yet again it's just an evidence piece before right before the start of the season. If you didn't need reminding, because no one talks about them. I mean, people are talking more about Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, of course. No one talks about Man City, maybe because they're bored of it, maybe because it's just so obvious, maybe because they're not that interesting. But they're absolutely going to win the league because they're absolutely got the best players. I mean, Rodri's amazing, Foden's amazing, Haaland's amazing, De Bruyne's amazing. You know, there's so many amazing players that they've got. And then, I mean, is Pep Guardiola almost at a point now where he's not going out buying loads of players because he already knows he's got everything he needs anyway? It's just little bits here and there. But if you're selling your reserve striker for £80 million, then there's something very, very dominant about the way that you do things. And that's what I'm saying about it. It's just, it's incredible that they can do that. You can argue about whether he's worth it or not, but you can't argue with me when I say that Man City are miles ahead of everybody else in a league that we want to be competitive. We've got one team that is miles and miles ahead of everyone else. And if you haven't figured that out, what other club in the Premier League can sell their reserve striker for 80 million? There's not many who can sell their first team striker for 80 million. In fact, Villa with Watkins, Newcastle with Isak. I mean, even Liverpool can't sell Nunez for 80 million. We can't sell Rasmus or Xerxia for 80 million at the moment. Spurs won't get 80 million for Richarlison. Chelsea won't get 80 million for Jackson. Brentford can't get 80 million for Tony. So Man City are selling their reserve striker for 80 million, and there's probably only 2 clubs in the league that can sell their starting striker for that. And you're telling me that this ain't a dominated, juggernaut, predictable league. Talking of which, let's have a look. I mean, look, I did a video yesterday. People think that sometimes I do videos and I moan. Maybe I do. But it's very interesting because sometimes we hit, and this is what I love about That's Football and these sort of topical daily videos, is we sometimes go and talk about the 3 p.m. blackout, or we'll talk about the transfer window, or we'll talk about Liverpool's setup. Yesterday I spoke about Conor Gallagher going to Chelsea and what a disgrace it was, because that's a player who should be a career Chelsea player, never leaving. And it's really sad that clubs have got to sell these young players. Well, lo and behold, I don't know whether he saw it, but the Chelsea manager's come out and basically agreed. He said, this is not Chelsea's problem when it comes to selling academy players. These are the rules. All the clubs at the moment are compelled to sell players from the academy because of the rules. It's all of the Premier League clubs' problems. And he's right. The benefit of selling a homegrown academy player compared to a flop that you bought from Shakhtar Donetsk or wherever is massive. You sell Conor Gallagher for 33 million, you get 33 million straight into FFP to go and spend on players. You sell Mudryk for 50 million when you bought him for 80 million a year and a half ago. You can't spend any of that 50 million because it's locked up in amortization. And that's basically it. You sell a homegrown player, pure profit on your books, which allows you to buy other players. You sell a flop for less than their value that you paid for them, it doesn't go in. So when you look at Chelsea, it's far more appealing to sell Conor Gallagher, one of your best players last season, who is a youth academy player that the fans want to see. It's far more compelling to sell Conor Gallagher than it is to sell Nicholas Jackson, Mudryk, Madueke, Raheem Sterling, Cucurella. All those players would be below selling Conor Gallagher. The system's broke. That's what I was saying yesterday. The system is broke and everybody is doing it, and it's the Premier League rules. He also said it's not only us, it's all the Premier League clubs. It's a shame because in Italy we've got Totti, who was with Roma for 20 years with the same club. One club man. We love that in football. The fans want to see that, but with the rules now, it's different than in the past. Well done. I don't think he's going to do particularly well as Chelsea manager, but I tell you what, he ain't stupid. He's absolutely correct. He's nailed it there, and we spoke about that yesterday. Absolutely nailed it there. Brilliant. Well done. I'll applaud any manager when they come out and talk sense. Well done to the Chelsea manager, Maresca. Get your comments in below. What are your thoughts on Man City and Alvarez? What are your thoughts on Maresca? Backing up what I said yesterday. Maybe we were right. Maybe we were right. Smash a like and subscribe. I'll speak to you on the next one.